My pleasure. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I feel really honored to be invited here to speaking to you today about the Agile auditing and particularly why this is a way we believe in ArcelorMittal Global Assurance to maintain the audit function relevant for our stakeholders and for the future and not going in the other direction. So I will definitely not give you today here a theoretical lecture about project management and particularly not about the two kinds of project management, two types, Scrum and Kanban. However, I will touch a little bit on this because these are the two most popular words heard when people speak about Agile, and Agile with a big A, the noun Agile, not the Agile with a small a, which means other activities, what we also do in ArcelorMittal, I would even guess many more than in the big A Agile. However, this presentation is linked upon the request from the organization here with a big A. So I think the purpose of today is to give you a few takeaways what ArcelorMittal has done in our ArcelorMittal internal assurance in terms of agile auditing, and I'm pleased to share any kind of experience what we have done and kind of projects later on at the end of the presentation. So in order to reach that status, I would like to go quickly with you through the table of content of today. So I heard just from the people around me that ArcelorMittal is not known by many people. The name does not ring a bell for everybody. However, ArcelorMittal is the largest steel producer on the planet since many years. So I will give you a few facts and figures about our company, then a few words about our function called Global Assurance. Then we drop to the Agile auditing, a rough definition, some principles and the approach, a few details about Scrum and Kanban as the most popular methods in this context. And then I hope we have then the time to go more in detail about the Agile approach and the benefits what we have gained by going in that direction in ArcelorMittal Global Assurance. Okay, so ArcelorMittal was built after the merger in 2006 when at that time the two largest steel companies, Arcelor and Mittal Steel, merged. Some say in a hostile takeover, some say in a mergers of two friends. At the end of the day, ArcelorMittal is now the leading mining and steel company with a presence in 60 countries all over the planet. We have only one continent where we have no industrial footprint, this is Australia. And we have our industrial heavy production in 18 countries where we have integrated steel operations from a harbor until the finishing lines, galvanizing lines. Our philosophy is to produce steel very safe. So safety first is our highest priority in our daily production. Produce green steel in the near future. Leading the supplier. We are the leading supplier of quality steel and major global steel markets, including the automotive, of course, construction, household appliance, and packaging. With our own world-class research and development center in USA, France, and Belgium. So we are now on top of that. In the past years, we acquired several mining operations in order to achieve now to be the five largest producer in iron ore and metallurgical coal. With a geographically diversified portfolio, we are strategically positioned to serve our network of steel plants to be not too much depending on the 3 or 4 big other mining companies on the globe. So last year we employed 210,000 employees worldwide, and we had a revenue of $76 billion with a steel production of a bit more than 90 million tons and almost 60 million tons of steel. So ArcelorMittal is listed since 2006 on the New York Stock Exchange, what gives us the pleasure to be SOX compliant. We are as well listed in Amsterdam, Paris and Luxembourg and in Spain. So far to the company ArcelorMittal, we are the global assurance function of this company right after the merger built. At that time we were named internal assurance because we were just doing the internal audit. In the meantime, we became really a kind of combined assurance function or aligned assurance function, but not by just collaborating nicely with the other assurance provider. No, we went a little bit another path, we integrated them. So that happened. The first was, joiner was 2010, the enterprise risk management function. The last one was the group security function, where the security is part of global assurance except the cyber security. Cyber security is with the IT, but people security and asset security is with the group security department, which is now under our umbrella. And last but not least, in 2016, we merged the second line of defense function SOX and internal control, roughly 130 FTEs, spread it all over the business into internal assurance, and after that fusion we were changing our name to global assurance. So we are organized by regions. You can see there is a, so let's start from the right, the ACIS region, Africa, CIS countries. Then we have Europe, which means Europe from Portugal and from Portugal in the west to Poland to the east. And everything what is more east is then in CIS. We have a separate mining department for mining audit, and NAFTA and Bank, which is the Americas region. We have a specific dedicated forensic services team consisting of 25 highly specialized fraud investigators, where you have the pleasure to cooperate with them several times. And what I already said, the group enterprise and the group security team is one, and the function which is directly supporting the chief audit executive, the head of global assurance, the competence center and continuous improvement. That's the function in our organization what I'm heading, with the task of global benchmarking at any time to keep the function abreast of best technologies and leading practices, best in class and so on. And this is why I was involved, of course, in these kind of coming up changes in the methodology in the audit profession. Going agile, going digital, you all have the same challenge that what we were also facing. So for the moment we are roughly 195 auditors, and the auditors are sitting decentralized in these regions in our major operations in 20 countries. That's for this. Our latest update of the organization vision and mission is what I also want to share with you, because it indicates already how we slightly steady, but slowly but steady changed towards this agile model. While we were in the past in our vision only mentioning we are a premier provider of assurance services, we have now updated this in premier provider of assurance and consulting services. That has a very clear meaning. In order to do this, we have our mission to perform our services by using data-driven approach now, much more than in the past. data with rapid response to emerging issues, and real-time visualized reporting. That is our mission, what we are actually running, and we are targeting to achieve this to the full performance by 2021, end of 2021. So second part of our vision is we are, as I know, I think most of you, a value-added and trusted business partner, and not a police function, as with the opposite. So we closely collaborate with our stakeholders in fulfilling their responsibilities. And since the beginning, we had also, upon the request from our chairman of the audit committee and the CEO of the company, who is also the major shareholder of the company, Mr. ArcelorMittal, who is living here in London, the clear request to be a training ground for future leaders, because they have strictly the vision that the best way to establish a proper governance and risk culture in the entire group is to bring people somehow in contact with audit or recruit people out of audit after a couple of years. So that is an important role what we played already, quite successful in the past. We have a natural attrition of 15 to 20% per year, and we manage this actively to release people to future leader positions in the company. Yeah, that's it. So let me now come to the definition of agile auditing. Why did we change our model slightly? Because we received clearly the messages from our stakeholders that our normal audit plan, with a split of 15% ad hoc and consulting activities and 85% operational audits. We never made financial audits, by the way, for your information. Maybe some of you may. But our philosophy was already since the beginning operational audits and 15% advisory. But this stakeholder survey, what we are running every year, was telling us in end of 2016, dear colleagues, this is not enough anymore. We are facing more compliance burden, we are facing cost pressure, we are facing disruption, digitalization is coming, and we want more added value from you auditors, rather than just telling us, here is a control ineffective, and here you need to do something, and here you need to do something. So that was a wake-up call in this stakeholder survey. We are running this every year in November to get the full annual feedback from the 50 top executives of the company. And that was a moment when we decided, okay, we need to look what is state of the art, and of course state of the art was going agile, changing the model to be more flexible, be more cooperative, collaborative with the business, and help them to improve their processes rather than in terms of efficiency, rather than just focusing on the control environment and the control weaknesses, what was indeed our focus in the past. So from the global benchmarking activities, what we are frequently running, and in my department, from the audit function, with face-to-face benchmarkings with peers from the Fortune 100, the largest industrial players, we know that just one of 5 of these audit functions have really already concluded to go in that direction. So we were one of the probably early birds going in that direction to think about going agile. But we understood very clearly that without this message, that without this change in our operative mode, we will be pretty soon not relevant anymore to the business, and probably also when we are not using the latest technologies, not cost efficient anymore with the big 4. And we are always facing the risk, and I'm pretty sure some of you as well, going to be outsourced or co-sourced by a big 4 company. Yeah, so that risk is always over us. But as I already mentioned at the beginning, my focus here is to define the agile auditing with a big A and not the small a. The big A is that's not for me. Okay, fine. So the Agile with a big A is really an innovative step for an audit department because it goes more in the direction of project management. It's a project management methodology. Agile, big A, Agile, is a flexible methodology with specific needs to its stakeholders. It is originally from the software development used in the software development to reduce cost and to mainly with a clear focus to deliver very fast a solution in an iterative process. So what makes for us in ArcelorMittal Agile so interesting and necessary, simply necessary to do it? Clear requests from the stakeholders to link to this definition to work in the near future, and now the future has started, in a more collaborative, in self-organized teams and cross-functional teams in order to solve really significant problems. As this agile methodology is coming from the software development, we are using this methodology, of course, in ArcelorMittal mainly when we develop jointly with the business, not software, but applications. So we have started in 2017 with our journey of RPA, and the first robots were created jointly by teams from ArcelorMittal Global Assurance, the IT people and the business owners who were the users of this application. So, Big A Agile is requiring from us being more collaborative, being more proactive, and being more really a business partner, helping the business to solve their problems. That was quite a change in our climate, because that was normally not the normal way we operated, even if we did already operational audits. But it is really a step away from the normal waterfall model, what we had also implemented in our organization: annual audit plan, annual risk assessment. Already we start annual risk assessment to create the audit plan end of November. First draft of the audit plan ready before Christmas. Final audit plan approved first week of January, and then doing business as usual. That is something what you can continue for a certain time, but we were deeply convinced that it is not the successful way forward, and we adopted this agile model. Following a few of these principles, I have listed them here, coming from this manifesto of agile auditing. I'm sure most, if not all of you, know these 12 principles, and there is certainly no need to spend our time here to go through all these principles. We changed, and following this model, our process to be now more iterative. And as I said, we did this, and I come with more details a bit later. When we created a robot solution, for example, we have increased significantly our number of projects. We have now cut the project in many smaller projects. The process is iterative with the process owners, of course, and I'm sure all of you do the same. Our work is close to the money. Yeah? It's accounts payable, accounts receivable process. All the other business processes are somehow touched, but clearly not our focus. We spend 80% of our capacity certainly in these areas, because that is the risky area for our board members. Yeah. So we do it flexible, highly flexible, much more flexible in the way with the business. And of course we have the benefit now to have the business, the process owners, the customers really much better involved in our work, rather than just being treated as an auditee. When they got this announcement memorandum that they will be audited in 2 weeks and they have to prepare the data for our guys, that they come and they do the business as usual. Now the story goes agile, a little bit different. We follow this Scrum methodology, what I will touch a little bit later. And of course, the result is that the requirements expect really to evolve and not to remain where they were before. Good. Agile terms. I think we skipped this in the circumstances of the time. Okay. So let's touch the two most popular methods for agile auditing. Scrum. As I mentioned already, Scrum is the methodology we have already also used since 2017, and Kanban is something what I have not seen in ArcelorMittal, honestly, being used, but of course we will not forget about that. So what makes Scrum so interesting and characteristic for us in global assurance? It uses methodology of an incremental approach to work with to jointly with the business in a very collaborative and incremental way to achieve the project fast. So the focus on Scrum is really fast. Kanban is not the focus on fast. Kanban is continuous, slight improvement of the processes, and that is certainly something what was not on the top list for us. ArcelorMittal is following the model. Any project would last longer than 6 months is not a project. So we have to deliver very, very fast results, otherwise we get in trouble. So the Scrum project, the Scrum process is here described in the chart. To read about it, but we will not go here to the picture and read the picture. So just in a nutshell, the Scrum is operating with sprints. Each sprint is running 2 to 4 weeks. So that is what we did also in our project. The sprints are planned in advance and executed, and then the review of each sprint is done at the end, and the next sprint is starting. So it is operating in iterative smaller pieces. And I give you an example at the end of this little short explanation. Yeah. So the teams are planning during the sprints a backlog, and they complete each task during the sprint and manage the backlog and the work among themselves. So from that perspective, it's very important that we have now different kind of people, and this is also something what we have, when I summarize at the end of the day, the requirements, what an audit function needs to do in order to achieve this goal. It is very important that we have a change in our staff. or in our competencies, stuff. Okay, in the competency composition of our team. In order to do this really in a collaborative, self-organized team, not in the way that like it was in the past, that there was a project manager who has really a tough project manager role to achieve something. Here the Scrum is led by a Scrum Master. You may have heard about this. The Scrum Master is linking the team with the process owner who is joining this and deliver this business intelligence into the project. So before the beginning of the project, the Scrum Master define the requirements jointly with the process owner. And with this basic input, they plan the sprints, and the sprints are run by the teams in the self-coordinating, step-by-step way. And each sprint has a certain result, and when this result is achieved, they go to the next. So the Scrum Master is, as I said, not the project manager in the old-fashioned way. He is now playing more the role, and that it needs a change in our we call them HIAs, Head of Internal Audit, the HIAs, by the country audit managers, managing teams of 5 to 10 people, because they need this specific skill now to be a Scrum Master, and the Scrum Master is an enabler and not a disciplinary boss. An enabler has the role to motivate the people, to encourage them to unlock their full potential. This is a quite different skill and competence what we expect from our HRAs, and we are in the process to transform our stuff in that direction. Okay, to close this here, this nice picture. Of course, as in any project management method, you will need a proper documentation. Like this, the Kanban has this wonderful table. The Scrum methodology is following a burn-down chart, and this burn-down chart is followed by the team, and after each sprint, they see the progress on this burn-down chart at a glance, because each task is eliminated from this burn-down task, which was visible at the very beginning when they start the project. So they can see every day when they look on this burn-down chart what's left to be done, what sprints are coming in the next couple of weeks. As I promised you, I give you an example. We had, end of 2017, a request from the management, from the IT management, to improve really a process what was really pain in their neck. It was a SOX control, which was where they received a complaint every year from our external auditor, because they never reached a proper level of compliance. It is this model, what all of you know, I think, from the match of the HR database and the IT access rights database. The typical thing where you can never, you know that, you never ever can take pace with this and achieve a proper solution. It was a poor guy sitting in the IT department who had the task to do this manually. So one day per week he spent, in average, to match these changes in the HR database with the access rights in order to achieve this match to the compliance before the external auditor is coming and always hammer with the SOX in compliance and make a big noise of this case. And he said, if somebody can help me on that, I would be more than pleased. So we started a Scrum project with Scrum Master, our expert in IT infrastructure, who was a very senior IT auditor, of course, in my team. We had a subject matter expert from this IT department with an enormous SOX compliance knowledge as well. And we built this team of collaborators, loose, self-organizing experts, with a coding expert from external. Yeah? Coding means somebody who was able to write a robot script, a program, to robotize what this poor guy was doing manually. And it took this Scrum team, I think, 3 months, and the story was over. Today, this robot, this SOX ITGC robot, is matching automatically every month. Every month, it is running automatically, making this matching, going in the email system, look for the right person who is in our email system from the external auditor, and send the completed spreadsheet or result, SOX compliance report to the external auditor. So this process is now completely robotized, and this was a very nice example, and it was indeed the first example where we were using this Agile project management methodology. And that was just the beginning. In the meantime, we have more than 50 robots solution created jointly with people from all business segments, mainly in Europe. And the effect is, of course, that this was boosting our image really as problem solver, as helping hand, as trusted advisor dramatically. That was never the case before, when we were just doing also these SOX ITGC tests and told this gentleman who did this job once a week the same, what the external auditor always told him as well: you are not doing a proper job, my friend. You are just creating problems, and you are creating here incompliances, and you never achieve your target. So now everybody is happy, including, by the way, the external auditor, because they don't need to do this work neither, because they rely fully, after they have checked the algorithm in their GRC, in their model, that this is now totally fine. So, great success story. First start of a good agile model using the Scrum methodology. Kanban, I think there's nobody here in the room who does not already know this, because that is definitely the very oldest model, at least what I heard. Kanban was developed by Toyota already in 1953. In order to continuously improve the processes, and it's driving the better coordination and the balance work with the capacity and the bandwidth of their workers. So it is mainly coming from that direction. So, and that is something what is in ArcelorMittal also not touched at all. I have listed here the values. Of course, Kanban is a very people-oriented approach, so it requires really this commitment, what you saw in 50 years ago, mainly in the Japanese companies, where they were doing these improvement processes after their working time and so on, because they were really heavily involved and committed to their company, which is even in Japan today not the case anymore, I'm pretty sure. So this is just for your information. I think that we can skip this, and I can honestly not give you an example about a Kanban success story in audit. I have put here from the IIA, borrowed this nice overview about the Agile auditing process to give you an overview. As I said, it is mainly now working in iterative incremental pieces, and not anymore in the typical waterfall model: planning, field work, draft report, final report, execution point, follow-up of recommendation. Okay, what is So as I said, with our slight move to Scrum, using Scrum and running the first robots and implementing together with the business, for example, another success story, digital asset library, which is very, very important and highly appreciated in our company, because our company is organized in business segments, and the business segments are operating heavily in silos. They don't speak too much with each other, and there is very little coordination and mutual benefit of something what was achieved in one segment, what could be copied in the other one. And you all know that the beauty of the RPA technology is that when you have created or written one algorithm in one robot, it is to a large extent, maybe 80%, replicable in the same process when you are operating on the same software like we do with SAP in another business segment. The problem is only that the business segments are not talking to each other. So we have taken this initiative as global assurance function, the only existing really corporate global active department in the group, to develop this digital asset library where all these robots and algorithms and standardized scripts, what we have developed, are uploaded and visible for everybody. This was, of course, also a quite surprise for most of the top executives by asking us, why are you doing this? We do it for the benefit of the company. So we saw that here, when we changed to this agile model, that we see a much higher satisfaction of our customers, much more satisfied with our quality of our audit reports and deliveries. Basically our, not audit reports, but consulting or advisory activities. We saw in our own team a dramatic change in the behavior and the morale of the team members when, what I said, when these Scrum managers are unlocking their potential. We could see an enormous increase in their commitment, job satisfaction. We had significantly less leavers in the sense of leavers of the group and not leavers to the business. Since that time we feel a dramatic increase of requests coming from the business and asking for more and more of these services, particularly, as I said, when we started the first robot proof of concept end of 2017, we had already end of 2018 more than 50 robots developed jointly with the business and scripts and other products. Good. But let me not forget the last column here, the challenges, because of course you can imagine in a federal organized group with a lot of silo thinkers and people reluctant for change, we are facing, like you certainly in your company as well, the problem by changing the leadership mindset, because the requirement of change is of course something what it's human nature. People don't like that. So that is our biggest concern, the internal politics of departments who are reluctant or thinking that they can do things better when they do it alone rather than asking for external advisory, and all this is really hindering, and it is most likely the reason why we are not more advanced than we are today. But all in all, we must say we are certainly on a good track, and we are doing our best to fight this reluctance against change as good as we can. So, what did we do in our audit function? We have changed our methodology, our operational, our mode to operate, and we have our manual of audit work in an e-book. It was like that big, and it's now in an e-book format on each mobile phone of all of our 195 auditors available, so that they can look at this at any time in order to be fully aware about the latest changes in our methodology. So we expect them now to do more frequent communication during the audit work. In the past, in most of our regions, it was the tenor to do the announcement memo, make a kickoff meeting, go to the team, go to the field work, do your analysis, and then you see the auditee the next time when you share with him the draft audit report in order to discuss the key issues. And then it started sometimes a quite endless debate before they agreed to issue the final report. I know you all, I'm sure you all know that daily business. Now we are forcing them really to operate more in this iterative model, to involve and to give proper feedback and even closer collaboration with the owners of the processes, as I said, mainly in the purchase to pay cycle or in the order to cash cycle, to communicate more frequently the issues and solve the problems right away, immediately. That's a target in an iterative process. So comprehensive documentation was in the past. We are operating with a big, well-known audit tool, audit platform. Yeah. Then, okay. In the audit platform, and with a lot, which is a straitjacket. This model, this tool is a straitjacket for the auditors in terms of you cannot start this step when you have not ticked off this one. Probably you know what the tool what I'm speaking about. And we have now decided that the lead auditor, for example, does not need to tick off or sign off each working paper in that tool. He just sign off the folder, which is of course a big step forward for them in order to get rid of administrative and comprehensive documentation work. This is, by the way, something what we call with a small a, Agile. Okay, so we have changed our audit plan from a fixed annual audit plan to a roll forward risk assessment. We have now a complete flexible risk assessment in this tool where our auditors are operating. So it will be updated, the risk assessment, on a monthly basis. They can do it if something is changing. And accordingly, the audit plan will be updated according to this emerging risks and emerging needs on a monthly basis. So from a static to a very flexible model. In the past, we have, of course, selected the audit assignments according to our capabilities and capacities, what we do. Now, we are really looking for the identified audits and risk what the business is asking for, and if we don't have this competence in our team, we are strictly looking for subject matter expert advisory in order to satisfy the stakeholder. That is first priority, satisfy the stakeholder. So we are shifting really our model to a stakeholder-oriented function, and we have now, since 2019 already, our audit plan, 40% advisory, 60% audit. While it was in the past, as I told you, it was 15% and 85%. So now we are 40 to 60, and I'm pretty sure we will be in 2021 50-50. We are operating on with a teammate tool, and of course a lot of our automation and efficiency in the way of small a, agile, the verb, is depending also on the progress and the utilization of that tool for us. But even if it was quite fast, I think you could take away some key activities what we have started or even achieved in the time since 2017. We are still in the process to review our competency framework and to frequently assess our skill mix in our team. We move certainly more in that direction to hire probably almost exclusively internally, because what we were lacking in the past in order to achieve the internal consultant job was the business acumen. When we were operating with people, more than 60% coming from external Big Four with some audit experience, but with no fundamental clue what steel processes are, then we could not really deliver this kind of quality internal advisory. So we need to go in that direction. So business acumen is key for us, because we want to become this trusted advisor and relevant partner to the stakeholders in the future, and we are strongly believing that we cannot achieve this with this. On the audit side, we are doing all these, I don't know, is anybody, please raise your hand, who is using process mining in your company? Nobody? Process mining is, for my perception, the most powerful mean in order to achieve significant insight in the processes, in each business process, by assessing 100% of the data. So it's purely data driven, and you can completely scrap this approach, talking to the business owner, the process owner, in order to understand or to let you explain from this person, or reading procedures, how the process is running. This is all nonsense anyway. We all know this from our daily practice. The sky is blue. When you talk to him, do you see significant problems and risk in your process? No. But process mining is an automatic, anonymous data crunching activity following only the time log. It is regardless what kind of ERP system you have. The process mining tool is following each event through all the transactions. It's running through the entire system, and it shows a fantastic overview about, is a purchasing order following the complete happy path, so purchase request, purchase order, good received, invoice, and so on, or is there any deviation in this process? And you will be totally surprised when you use such a model, or I can show you it after the session if you want, how crazy the processes are really used in practice. And with this visualization, you have an unbelievable powerful argument in your hand when you go into the kickoff or a closing meeting with the process owner and show him, this is a process in reality. This is 100% of your data. There's no individual mistake or personal perception or anything. This is the truth, and the only truth, because it's 100% of the data. And it's just following the time logs, which cannot be manipulated. So this is wonderful. And process mining is, of course, for us, the first tool what we use in order to see deviations in the processes, and then identify these little iterative, in the Scrum or methodology, running sprints to improve all these severe findings or not so severe findings coming from the deviations in the process. So the process mining is our most powerful tool to start this and to enter into this analysis. Of course, in order to serve our customer, we have built up in a special dedicated team cyber security expertise, subject matter experts to support the CIO and our CISO. We have a special dedicated subject matter expert team, GDPR expertise to support our compliance officer. And of course we have in our team now data scientists, mathematicians able to run and to develop machine learning ideas and predictive analysis in order to support our salespeople, for example, with predictive data, but also with the maintenance people in keyword predictive maintenance in order to support this as well. So all in all, what this video was showing you, we have a big basket of activities which are enabling us to be really a more agile and trusted business partner in our company. And of course, the final goal, what we would like to achieve, is to serve our audit committee and the board members with a real-time assurance delivery. And in order to do this, we need to be agile. So I wish you all a good journey to Agile if you want to start it, and I wish you all the best if you don't start to do Agile, to change your model into Agile, because it may not last long. Thank you very much.
Any questions for Andreas? Anybody? Questions?
If somebody has a question that I can answer, please.
Otherwise, Andreas is planning to have coffee and cake, so maybe you can catch him down there.
Yeah. So if anybody wants to enter into a one-to-one or a bilateral exchange or benchmarking or whatever you think, we can do this. And of course, I'm totally open to share everything what we are doing on a very confidential and trustful way with each of you individually. Of course, I cannot say here in the big room what are the scripts and the kind of tools we are using and the prices we are paying for certain services. But if you want to know more, I'm here for, I don't know, maybe 20 minutes, half an hour before I go back to the airport. And we can share business cards and stay in touch afterwards, whatever you want. So, thank you.